Hello, guys. So a lot of people were discussing their thoughts on the upcoming patch, how it's going to affect the meta, what are things that are triggering us, what are things that they're saying are buffs are not buffs. Really, depending on what you're running, it's going to change a lot of those things. But there's one thing that a lot of us were talking about, who I thought maybe making a video for you to give your comments, your opinions. And again, I know depending on where you are in the game and how you play the game, your opinion's going to change. So it's really one specific line that is really bothering us. It's this line right here. The draw mileage acquired will be increased by 10 times. You will get 10 mileage points for each draw. Now, we're not even talking about the fact that the free draw is going to be more common, who's also pretty cool, and I gotta admit, that is something I would have liked to see earlier. As you can see, it's right up here, meaning it's going to be every 24 hours instead of every 71 hours, so basically every day instead of every 3 days. So that I'm completely fine with, and I believe this should have been done earlier. But this is really a problem because of how the mileage system works. As we all know, BB has some of the shittiest 5-star draw rates, but that is not really the issue here. The problem is the rate of getting a 5-star is going to be inferior to the mileage rate by literally 4. I mean, you have a chance on 20 draws, you're supposed to get one 5-star, if you're lucky. That's because it's 5%. So if you multiply 5% by 20, you get 100. So you got one chance of out of 20 to get a 5-star. Now, knowing that in that 20, that is under this new rule, 10 mileage points per draw. I'm not counting the +1, but it would count in. So just you can do the math after. It's a little bit less than 600 crystals. We're going to say that much. So let's say you get 600 crystals. You spend that. You're going to be able to get 4 6-stars and 1 5-star, who I got to say is ridiculous. Because you got a higher chance of getting 6 stars than 5 stars. Like, what the hell is going on? I don't even know why we're getting 5 stars anymore. Basically, it means what you draw is what you use as power-up and transcend materials, which is basically what they're trying to push us to do. But this actually causes one bigger issue, ignoring the fact that it has basically gotten completely ridiculous in what you're going to be able to draw. The second problem is really going to be for new players, and also going to be piss off the old players, because new players get a lot of crystals. End game, we gotta really rely on COD. We gotta get the monthly pack. We gotta go in league. I mean, we do get some decent amount of crystals, but it's nothing compared to achievements. I can't even remember the last time I even got one of the continuous achievements. I mean, I get the bi-weekly and the daily, but again, 30 crystals every 2 weeks, 5 a day. That's nothing. That's peanuts compared to when I was starting out and I was getting 40 there, 80 there, 100 there. It was a lot more. So this means that starter players are going to have a lot of crystals to draw. And because of that, they're not going to start with the few tiny 5 stars they get. I mean, I started with Leia. I'm still running her today. And the only reason I'm doing it is because I started with her. And I had no other 5-star to put there. And I put a 5-star. And I was pretty damn happy with her. But this is going to allow those players, just think about it, one 5-star every 20 cards. Now, this is going to mean that, yes, they might get this one 5-star. But automatically, a 5-star is weaker than a 6-star. And so we won't even talk about that one. But that does mean that there's 4 cards that are going to be 6-star. And you're pretty much going to be getting them really fast. So all you're going to need to do is look at the forums and ask, what is the meta? Who else should I use? And automatically, everyone's going to tell you in backline, for example, you should have a Kevin. You should have a Gelf. If you can't, throw in a Magnus. So, I mean, all 3 of those are some very good players. And I'm not saying the opposite. Okay, I got to agree that they have some insanely OP skill sets, and they should be used. But this is going to make that especially new players who are scared to try out different things are all going to copy the meta. And since they can get one 6-star every 5 draws, I mean, that's one 6-star every 5 days. I'm not even counting any other way they can get some crystals. So believe me, they are a lot. So I think this is really going to be bad because this is going to kill diversity and push the low levels to go towards the meta because they don't understand how it works, but they're pretty much going to realize that some units are better than others and why experiment when you can have the meta. And now for more endgame players, it's going to be a little bit more frustrating because we worked really hard to get our 7 stars. I mean, I farmed the androids and I store all my 4 stars to turn them into 5 stars, to turn them into 6 stars. And it took a lot of time, a lot of farming. I mean, I could make one 6-star every 2 weeks. It took me months since the 7-star update. I mean, the only 7 stars I have are my main team. So I got 11 7-stars since the beginning, and you're telling me that now if I basically spend 900 crystals, I can make a 7-star? I mean, that's completely ridiculous. I got enough crystal to make 6 7-stars, and that's what took me around, what, 6, 7 months to make? That shouldn't be at that kind of a rate. So on top of it, it's going to allow people to just all have 7-star, and it's really going to negate the work of endgamers, allowing new players and mid-ranked players to just completely advance to their level instantly. Who's something who I don't think should be the case. You shouldn't have someone level 20 having 5, 6, 7 stars when someone level 100 wasn't even able to get over 5 on their team. I mean, you can go to Galaxy League. When you're in Galaxy, not everyone is running a full 7-star team. And these are people who are majority above rank 120. There are people who have multiple legends. There are people who spend a lot of time playing. You can see some very well-rolled stones. Again, I'm not trashing on those endgame players. I'm just not happy about the idea that there's going to be a gap that's going to be closed instantly, and all the work, the farming, and what they've done is going to be negated by a single patch. Who, again, I think, honestly, what should have been done is not mileage points, but it would be a serious increase in the drop rate of 5 stars, who we can all agree is not the said 5%. It is pretty much a joke. Okay, a lot of people have done it. Every time someone does a stream, we see 3%, we see 2%, we see 4%. I don't know where the 5% is coming from, and they're like, yes, but it's close enough. So if you use this mathematical formula, again, I can't think of a single video where I've seen someone at 5 or above, but hey, in BB's opinion, that's completely legit. So they're kind of hiding the fact that their draw rate sucks to force us towards mileage. I mean, it is a solution, but at this point, just remove the way the draw rate works and say that every 11 draw, you get 2 5-stars. That would solve it, and that would actually make it a viable thing. Again, there's the legend things and blah, 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 and like this, they can really push you towards wanting to buy to get the new gens and blah. But I'm still thinking that this is a bad idea. And what I think, honestly, the biggest issue is going to be is actually going to be with the whales. Because the whales are the ones who spent a fortune. They're the ones who are funding this game that we all play. I might spend a little bit here, a little bit there. I mean, I only spend when there's a legend purchase event. So yes, as you might guess, I did get the Vonchi skin. But I mean, the previous time I purchased was, I think, Beth skin. So it's like, there's a pretty decent interval. And I'm getting them for free because I get like apps on my phone for that. But it's pretty decent the way I get them. But for a lot of players that have spent a lot of money to farm, to build, and when they realize that everything they've done, everything they've farmed can just be caught up so fast, I think it's going to frustrate them to the point they're not going to want to spend. Who is the major issue here, because we want these people to spend. They're the ones who fund the game. New players are going to spend, yes, they're going to spend a little bit. 7-star team, and they're going to be, well, why would I need to spend? I've already got the meta since I didn't really need to farm for players. I think that's really where the major issue is going to happen. It's also going to make GP have literally no value anymore, because why would you scout with the rate of 5 stars you can get? Using Crystal as a stand refill is not going to make sense. A lot of things like that are going to stop making sense just because of the rate of 5 stars you can get from draws. And I really think that it's going to make majority of players, especially the new ones, just copy-paste the meta and follow the meta. And as we know, BB really doesn't do balances. So it does mean that the meta is going to remain the same meta for quite a while. As a lot of us have seen in the last 4 months, the meta hasn't really changed. Yes, we've added a few legends, we tweaked a little player here and there, but I mean, you can go multiple seasons back. Victoria was always there. You can always keep Victoria. I think the current meta midline is basically Duke, Metatron, Victoria. All of those are Season 1 legends, and they've been in that same line since the very beginning. So the minute they get all these players, they're just not going to switch, because they're going to say, well, I got 50%, 30%, the debuff. I'm going to get a Jiho, use Jiho Ace, and there's no way someone can reflex me. And I'm not saying it's a bad comp, but I'm saying it's sad that new players can get to that level so fast. So I'm going to stop with the complaint, Fred. I'm going to let you guys give your opinion, your comments. Again, I am for the fact that we can get 5-star easier. I am only against the fact that people can get 6 stars that fast. I would instead just increase the 5-star rate to 20%. That's all I would do. Again, that's my personal opinion. You guys can have your own. And of course, new players are going to say this is the best thing ever. and endgame players are going to say, why the hell have I been farming for ages? I think especially people who spent crystals very recently are going to be the most triggered. Have a good day, guys.